UFC 297 Strickland versus Du Plessis takes place this weekend in Toronto, Ontario, Canada. And we've got you covered on the full card breakdowns and our picks. Don't go anywhere.
What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another edition of the 10-7 MMA. I'm DS. He's DBB.
I'm DBB and he's DS.
That's right. And we're here to break down UFC 297. If you've seen our little situation before, you probably realize that we're not next to each other. Unfortunately, it makes me a little bit sad. But yeah, we got to do what you got to do. In Chicago, it's cold as balls right now. What did you say? It was my negative 10 on your phone?
Minus 10 as I'm looking at it right now. It's fucking freezing.
My mustache was literally freezing as soon as I stepped outside earlier.
Get the icicles in your like nose hairs and shit.
Essentially, bro. Like straight up brutal. Anyway, we're back. 2024. We had a nice week. We had a nice first UFC week, I would say.
Yeah. I mean, I did great on picks. You not so much.
Great on picks. It was not my best work. I went 6-5. You were 9-2.
I think so. I have to count them, but I did well.
Sure that's what you told me, unless you lied.
I did well.
I wouldn't put it past you. But you did a great job. Thank God I didn't drop any sort of parlays this week. That's all I'm going to say.
And Dino, on top of us doing a great job, we as a channel did a great job. Saw huge growth for us. I know we're small. We're small in this industry. We're just like a little minnow in this big-ass UFC, MMA, YouTube ocean. But we got a ton of subscribers. We got a ton of views on our MMA Casuals video.
Let me get a little slice of that.
Hey, let's get it. It was a good week for the 10-7 MMA. So I'm going to transition into, if you guys are enjoying the content or are looking forward to future content, do us a favor. Hit that little subscribe button. Ring the little bell. Dino, virtual bell. There it is, guys. That's the virtual bell. This is a new thing. It's not going to be an all-the-time thing.
It's not going to be perfect either.
Yeah, you know what I mean?
Bear with us.
Yeah, so it is what it is, guys. But anyways, do that.
Thanks for watching.
Right, I appreciate it. And also, while you guys are appreciating us, the 10-7 MMA on IG, we got pictures with fighters and shit on there, and that's pretty cool. Anyways, Dino, UFC 297, first pay-per-view of the year. Is it the best card? Not really, but I'm excited.
It's not a very good card. I remember I sent you like a screenshot of like a 6-fight stretch where it was like, come on, man. This is the first pay-per-view card of the week, or of the year, I mean, but it is what it is. It's still got some nice fights on it. If you're not a casual, definitely some good fighters on there. We've got, obviously, it's a themed card. We got the whole Canada thing going on. It's in Canada, right?
Yep, Toronto.
Yeah, it's in Toronto. So
you think
that one chick's gonna be there? Smoke that youth.
That'd be, yeah. I mean, she might be. She's a big deal together.
But if the business is true, that bitch.
Yeah, she's out there, bro. She's wild.
She really is. The Toronto accent is something special. But jumping right into it, we've got 12 fights on the docket. The first one of the night is at 125 at flyweight. We've got Malcolm Gordon taking on Jimmy the Brick Flick. What do you think?
I think this. Check this out. Transition. Okay. We can do shit like this when we're in this digital world. You know what I'm saying?
That's right.
Jimmy the Brick Flick. Is that a your boy?
Damn, not really, but he's a good guy.
I feel that. All right. Seeing Malcolm Gordon and Jimmy Flick, fam. You see what I'm saying, dog? That's my Toronto accent.
Please do that. Please do that for the entire fucking breakdown.
I can't do it, fam. But let's start with Malcolm Gordon. He looks like a mouse. He's 2-4 in the UFC, guys. He's coming off of 2 straight losses. A quick first-round KO to Jake Hadley and a third-round sub to Muhammad Mokaev. Pretty good competition there. In the loss to Mokaev, he looked pretty solid. If anyone can give Mokaev any kind of trouble, I feel like it's a sign that guy's pretty good. But he's inconsistent as hell, Dino. He is a black belt. His striking is just okay. He marches forward in a kind of kind of a dumb way for me, right? He's really hittable. He allows himself to get taken down. He struggles to get takedowns himself. He is sort of I wouldn't say he's a butt scooter, but he's definitely like one of those jiu-jitsu guys who struggles to get the fight to the ground. And we've been talking a lot about that lately.
Yeah, he's basically Brazilian.
Yeah, he's a Brazilian-Canadian guy. And then on the other hand, we have Jimmy Flick. He's another submission grappler, decent takedowns, kind of sucks on the feet as well. He's also super hittable. Another guy coming off of 2 straight losses, KO to Alessandro Costa and a KO to Charles Energy Johnson, a my boy, not a your boy anymore.
Not a my boy.
At the end of the day, Dino, there's not too much for me to separate these dudes, right? It's 2 chinny dudes, 2 guys that are desperate for a win coming off of back-to-back losses. To me, it's a legitimate coin flip. I'm not excited to pick either one of these dudes. I don't think either one of them is that good or high level, like UFC high level. I expect it to be sloppy, but I'm going to stick with the American here. I've seen better things from Malcolm Gordon than I have from Jimmy Flick, but I've also seen worse things from Malcolm Gordon than I have from Jimmy Flick. So that just, I don't know. I'm staying away from betting this. I'm going with my gut. I'm going Jimmy Flick, probably a round 2 sub, and watch how cool this is. Once I'm done talking, we get to transition to you.
That's so stupid. I love
it. Multitasking, baby.
Yeah, listen, man. Jimmy Flick is one of those guys. When he came into the UFC, I was kind of somewhat excited having watched a lot of his tape. But I don't know, like having seen his fights in the UFC, I just don't think he's anything special. I don't think Malcolm Gordon's anything special either. For me, the biggest difference is going to come in the feet, and it's going to come in the power. I just expect Malcolm Gordon to land the bigger shots and to be able to hold his own on the ground. I mean, he almost had Makhachev in a submission a couple times. So to see him actually kind of holding his own versus Makhachev, Jimmy Flick has not fought anybody even close to that quality, in my opinion. So, for me, it's really a toss-up. Again, I'm also not going to be betting this. This I can tell you for sure. This is certainly not going to be in the safety parlay. But give me Malcolm Gordon. I just think he's going to find a bigger shot. And Jimmy Flick doesn't strike me as somebody who's a very intelligent fighter, having seen his fights in the UFC thus far. So give me Malcolm Gordon by a second-round TKO in this one.
All right, 2 things really quickly. First thing of note, we're disagreeing again on the first fight of the night, which we did last year. Last year, we didn't do much of that. And then the second thing, I mean, look, I agree with you. I think definitely Malcolm Gordon has fought the better competition. I mean, like I said, Hadley and Makhachev. The Hadley fight, we didn't really get to see much. He proved a lot in the Makhachev fight. He beat Dennis Bondar. He's fought Sumudaerji, even though he got finished there in 40 seconds. It's weird. He's a weird situation, man. Like I said, I've seen him look good.
Chinny. I just think that's a big part of it.
He is pretty chinny.
So, you get to move on?
Yeah, let's do it.
Moving on. Next fight of the night, we've got Jasmine Jasudavicius taking on Priscilla Cachoeira. And I guess I'll go first on this one. I mean, cheating ass Jasmine, man. Cheating ass JJ. You feel me? Last time she got her ass beat by Tracy Cortez, but she definitely tried cheating and shit, grabbing on the cage and whatnot. We know who she is, right? She's got good judo. She's got decent wrestling. In my opinion, she's still a little bit overrated. She was building a little bit of a streak until she lost versus Tracy Cortez. For me, Cachoeira is just definitely, I mean, she's, first of all, it's basically a grappler versus a striker, right? I mean, Jasmine's got some hands, but no power, no speed behind it. For me, Cachoeira does throw pretty damn hard. So I don't know how long Jasmine's going to want to keep it on the feet. Eventually, I do expect her to take her down. And I see just kind of a boring fight. Jasmine keeping her down, not really doing much damage. I mean, Priscilla Cachoeira has one big weakness, and it's literally the wrestling. So I don't see her really. I mean, maybe she'll try to go for a submission. I just see a fairly boring fight. Maybe Jasmine tries to strike with her a little bit at first, gets caught a couple times, and then eventually takes Cachoeira down, doesn't want to swing with her on the feet. I feel pretty good about it. I mean, Cachoeira also does not have good cardio, so I just think the matchup is better for Jasmine here. Give me Jasmine by decision. It's somewhat close, but I mean, I feel pretty confident about it.
Yeah, I get where you're coming from. For me, obviously, Priscilla Cachoeira is definitely a my girl, zombie girl. Shout out Team Figueiredo. But for me, it is what it is, right? It's a striker versus a grappler. Jasmine Jasudavicius is going to nonstop look for the takedown here. And with her grappling pedigree, I'm assuming she's going to be able to get a couple takedowns. Of Cachoeira's 5 MMA losses in her pro career, 3 of them were by sub. And that's kind of what I expect here. Like, once we get late into the first round and Cachoeira starts fading, as you alluded to, I expect Cachoeira to start making some mistakes. She does throw big as shit, leaving herself open and susceptible to those takedowns. I think at some point it's going to happen. She's going to give up her back. And I'm going round 2 RNC for Jasmine Jasudavicius. I do agree with you. I think she was a little bit fraud checked last time out by Tracy Cortez. She wasn't maybe fraud checked isn't even the right word, but it's like she's not as good as maybe we thought she is.
And she was getting real damn cocky before that fight too. If you remember, she was literally. I mean, was that in Canada too?
I don't think so, man. I don't think it was.
I don't think it was. But I remember she was getting real cocky before the fight, throwing her hands up and shit, and like.
Yeah, she's definitely a cocky. She looks cocky.
Yeah, for sure. But yeah, so we agree on that one. Both taking how do you say her name, bro? God damn, I always fuck that up.
I think it's Jasdavicius.
I've heard it different ways, but whatever. It is what it is. Moving on to the third fight of the night, we've got Yohan Lainesse taking on Sam Patterson. Sam Patterson is making his debut in the UFC at 170 now because he's a 6'3" man, built like a goddamn stick figure though, at 155 at least. I'm curious to see what he's going to look like at 170. At 155, we saw him brutalized last time versus what's his name?
Yanal Ashmouz.
Ashmouz. Thank you very much. What do you think about this one? I'm actually very curious to see what you have to hear what you have to say on this one.
All right, let's get it. And then speaking of names that I've heard said other ways, Yohan Lainesse. I've heard a couple of those. Anyways, though, Yohan Lainesse returning after almost a year out of the cage. His last fight was against Mike Malott back in February. He's a grappler who throws big ass power shots when he's on the feet. He has a nice boxing, like good hooks on the feet. You know, he's constantly moving forward. I love his takedowns that he sets up in the striking game. He does good work on the feet, good work on the ground. He looks good. The two things, he definitely gets brawly as hell sometimes, and he's super, super damn slow. Like everything's kind of slow motion.
You're talking about Yohan?
Yeah, I'm talking about Yohan. Everything's slow, everything's big on the feet. And then speaking of big on the feet, Sam Patterson, as you mentioned, tall as hell. He's going to be tall as hell for this division as well. Long-bodied striker, decent boxing skills. Had a nice showing in the Contender Series. Had some people kind of like thinking that, hey, this guy might be problems in the UFC. And then, as you said, he shows up. He's fighting Yanal Ashmouz. I think that was also his UFC debut. He was a huge, huge favorite on that card. And I remember I picked him. Yeah, I picked Yanal Ashmouz for the upset. And, of course, he got it. On the feet, Sam Patterson does not do a good job for me utilizing range, using his length and his reach advantage. He does not do a good job with that. You would think being tall, that's the thing you would do, right? But he kind of sucks at that. Yeah, I'm going Yohan Lainesse here, man. He's a good grappler. I think if this fight goes to the ground, Dino, he's able to stay safe because Sam Patterson, for what it's worth, he does have good jiu-jitsu skills. We saw that in the Contender Series. Being so long-bodied, he's able to kind of like throw those limbs up. But I think Lainesse is going to be safe enough if it goes to the ground. And if it stays on the feet, he hits pretty damn hard. Patterson seems to be hittable. He seems a little chinny. The math is kind of mathing for me here. I'm going Lainesse round 3 KO. But I do want to say both guys are very, very susceptible to being finished in this one.
100%. 100%. You absolutely broke it down. I mean, dude, Sam Patterson last time when he was knocked out, it was one of those where he was like wrestling the ref. Yeah. So that was brutal. Also, I just remember when I was watching his film, and even this time around, it was like, bro, this is one of the slowest punching guys I've ever seen. Like, I don't know, his punches looked super slow. He did not look strong. He just looked like emaciated. I just did not like his game at all once we saw him in the UFC. So I don't know. This is a fairly low-level fight at welterweight overall, I would say. You know, Yohan Lainesse, he's got some power, but we've seen him finish. We've seen him go to a split decision with Darian Weeks, right? Yeah. We've seen him submitted. We've seen him knocked out in the UFC. He's coming off a year layoff. You know, I'm curious to see, like I said, what Sam Patterson's going to look like at 170, because at 155, it was definitely not it. He's got some crisp boxing. I mean, they both have decent boxing. I expect Lainesse to have the bigger power for sure. Again, this is not one I'm touching betting-wise. It's a toss-up for me. Sam Patterson, for me, is a huge question mark right now. But I got to go with Lainesse. I mean, I know he has the power, and I just think that Patterson leaves his chin up sometimes as well. And he's tall, and tall guys tend to do that. So, yeah, I think Yohan's going to end up finding the chin at some point. Again, not a high-level fight. Tough to bet as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah, I'm with you, man. I'm not touching that fight because, like I said, I think both guys are very susceptible to getting cracked, and I'm not interested in parting with my money on that one.
Absolutely not. Moving on to the fourth fight of the night, we've got Jillian Robertson taking on Viana at 115. Just so far, just a stacked card. But yeah, this should not be on the pay-per-view, in my opinion. Jillian Robertson,
She's big Canadian. Girl. You know what I'm saying?
That's all it is. Exactly. Yeah. So again, I hate these damn theme cards. I know you do too, but it is what it is. But to make it a pay-per-view too, like that's just a little bit extra upsetting. Yeah. Anyways, Jillian Robertson, big girl for the division. She's all right. She's not too bad. If you look at her record, it kind of tells you the story, right? She's a middling fighter. Anytime she's taken a huge step up, anytime she's fought somebody who was top 15 or, top 10 around there, she loses, right? If she fights kind of the bottom feeders type thing, she wins. So I would say she's the definition of, she's almost like a gatekeeper in the division for me, right? So for me, she's got some power, but ultimately she wants to get you down and submit you. She's got the black belt in jiu-jitsu. Viana, I mean, they're kind of similar, right? Viana is also a big girl for the division, and she throws up submissions like maybe nobody else in the division. She literally constantly is just throwing up random ass submissions. So for me, I just expect the wrestling of Jillian Robertson to be the difference maker here, and I expect her to be able to dictate when the fight's going to go to the ground and not on the feet. Viana, not impressive to me. I expect Jillian Robertson to at least have a little bit more experience in that regard. Viana's boxing is not good. I'm not touching this betting-wise either, but give me Jillian Robertson by decision in this one.
All right. So, I mean, I agree with you as far as the breakdown's concerned, right? Two grapplers that ain't all that on the feet. I'm gonna side with you, man. I'm going Jillian Robertson. I do think she's just that little bit better on the ground. I think a lot of this fight takes place on the ground. I feel like Jillian Robertson by close decision is the way to go, 29-28. And if it's really close, being in Canada, you'd probably assume that, the judges are going to give it to the hometown girl. 29-28, let's go split decision, Jillian Robertson. But I will tell you, Dino, I don't love the odds. Minus 200 for Jillian Robertson, plus 165 on Viana. In a women's MMA fight with, two girls that are really highly, like, with high submission skills, that seems kind of shitty. Yeah, so I'm not touching that one either.
I respect that. I think it's a little high. I don't think it's that bad though. But I respect it, and I wouldn't bet it either. So
yeah.
Moving on to the next fight of the night, it's number 5. We've got newcomer Serhiy Sidey.
Shout out Serhiy Sidey. Remember that store?
That's what I thought of too. But he is taking on Ramon Taveras. These guys have already fought on the Contender Series, but give us the breakdown.
Not long ago. Yeah, not long ago at all. They actually fought on the Contender Series. But we'll do a breakdown anyways, guys. Sidey, he's tall. He's a long-bodied striker, good power. He stays in your face. He's not one of those like long-bodied dudes that kind of pokes at you from the outside and just, keeps his range. He's pretty good on the ground as well, even though it's not necessarily his game. Good submission skills. And then we got Taveras. Ramon Taveras is a super powerful southpaw counter striker. Fast hands, good body work. He does a good job at switching stances. Good takedown defense. We just saw this fight, Dino. We literally just saw this fight. So I have to go with what I just saw, right? I know it was a weird fight, a kind of controversial ending or whatever, but I'm sticking with Serhiy Sidey again. I feel like this time we definitely get more than the 2.5 minutes we got the last time, but I think ultimately we get a same result. I'm going Sidey, the Canadian here, by round 2 TKO.
Yeah. What you failed to mention is that it was a beyond early stoppage.
I said it was controversial.
I mean, it was like very, very early. Like this guy was clearly fighting. Taveras was still fighting to get up. And he was winning that fight up until he got caught and dropped pretty badly. And then obviously, he landed a shot. So listen, Taveras got really nice hands to me. I really like how his style looks. The jab is clean. The 1-2 is clean, really fast, stiff, powerful shots. Terrible stoppage. So you really hate to see that. And then what happened is Dana gave him the shot and for the finale of the season of Dana White's Contender Series, and put him in the main event as the 6th fight. What are you doing right now? You're just switching.
I'm just messing with the settings. I'm trying to see what works.
Okay.
Yeah, am I fucking with you? Am I fucking you up? Because that's not my intentions here.
You're fucking me up a little bit.
I'm just saying, look, we can be like this. We can be like this. You can just get your solo shot, baby. If you want some airtime, you just let me know.
I don't want.
You don't want that much airtime. You want something like this.
Yeah, I was fine with this.
Okay, but by the way, you forgot to mention. Did you say Dancing with the Stars? Did you say that?
I don't know if I did.
Okay, well, Dancing with the Stars.
Yeah, listen, it was early stoppage. Tavares has really nice punches, really nice 1-2s. I actually kind of like how he looks, man. I think both these guys are actually pretty good.
Yeah, they're solid.
For Ramon to get the main event of the season finale of Dana White's Contender Series and then come out, and now all the pressure is built up, right? Because you already had your shot. It was taken from you, right? Some would say stolen from you, potentially. And now you get another shot. There's a lot of pressure on you. And what does he do? He comes out as an underdog. I want to say he was a plus 200 underdog and knocks the guy out in 30 seconds. So to me, like, first of all, that takes some balls. That takes some testicular fortitude, brother.
Hey.
So for him to come in and do that, that tells me a lot. You know, I'm big on this kind of mental stuff here and there, right? So, and the fact that he was winning the fight, he's got good power. I think it's going to be a good fight, man. I think both of these guys are UFC level. They're only going to get better. Give me Ramon Tavares and give me for him by second round TKO in this one.
All right, so we both went round 2 KO there on different sides of, we picked different guys, but I will agree with you, Dino. He was kind of winning that first fight, and he was like, there was no real huge characters on this season of Dancing with the Stars, Dana White's Contender Series. He was one that stuck out.
Yeah,
so I hope he does win. I'd love to see more. And like you said, both of these guys seem like they're the real deal, dude.
Yeah. Yeah, and I'm rooting for him for sure.
That's good. Same.
We should see if he's down to hop on.
Let's go. We'll hit him up.
Yeah, let's do it. 6th fight of the night. We've got my boy. Is it our boy?
Yeah.
Okay, we got an our boy, Charles Jourdain, taking on Sean Woodson at 145. Sean Woodson, of course, beat up on our boy Dennis Bazookia a little bit last time out.
Shout out Dennis Bazookia.
Shout out Dennis Bazookia.
I hated that, Dino.
I did too.
It's crazy because Sean Woodson, we talk so much about him. Like, he's super unique looking, super tall, like all that. He's a pretty good fighter. But what I want to know is, what do these guys drink? Look at this. You get the full screen treatment here.
Damn. Man, Charles. I feel like Charles drinks vodka for sure.
Charles drinking the vodka, man. Okay.
What do you think?
I mean, I could see. I don't think he drinks. He kind of strikes me as like a non-drinker.
I could see that.
I feel like he's really into his like health and fitness and like my body is my temple kind of like vibes.
I don't think Sean Woodson drinks.
I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. What do you don't? So neither one of these guys drinks.
Potentially.
Okay. Well, I think Sean Woodson dabbles. I don't know in what.
I would say Charles Jourdain is more likely that he dabbles.
Okay.
Than Sean Woodson.
Maybe, dude. You're the expert in this. This is your field.
Oh, is it?
Yeah, you're the alcohol guy. You know what people drink.
Let's get back to the
great job, by the way.
Huh?
You do a great job with picking what these guys drink.
Oh, thank you so much. But listen, man, Charles Jourdain, I love me some Charles Jourdain. All right. He gets better every time he comes out. He's dangerous on the ground. I feel like he's the kind of guy where if you're a good submission artist, you're known as a submission artist, he wants to come out and submit you. If you're a good striker, he wants to stand there and strike with you. Sometimes it doesn't work in his favor, or at least it hasn't. I think he's got some good momentum now. I think this is kind of like, I think if he wins this fight, like, he's on a good trajectory right now. So Sean Woodson, obviously super tall, super like interesting, different ass built body, right? He's got like a very like short torso in a weird way. He's got long ass arms. Listen, Woodson's a high level featherweight, right? Or I don't think he's like a super high level featherweight. To me, Charles Jourdain is just better. On the ground, I mean, we've seen Woodson do pretty good. He actually, I was surprised. He actually lands decent ground and pound. He actually goes for the finish. But for me, man, I just got to go with the talent. I just believe in Charles Jourdain. He's my boy. I expect him to mix it up a little bit more on the feet. I think it would benefit him if he actually works the body a little bit in the first round for sure. We'll see. Woodson, he's got the nice jab, nice teep kick. He kind of uses his teep kick as a jab. So it's going to be interesting to watch, man. You know, it's two pretty high-level strikers. They're all. I think Charles Jourdain, in my opinion, is still a more well-rounded one. I think it's going to be a close fight, man. But I got to go with the talent. Give me Charles Jourdain in a close decision here.
Dino, let me ask you a question. Was it a Charles Jourdain fight when you were like, man, I'm super disappointed that I didn't pick my boy? You remember that conversation? You went against huge my boy, and like he ended up winning, and you're like, I'm disgusted in myself.
Was it Charles Jourdain? I feel like it wasn't.
Okay. Yeah.
I don't remember, but I definitely did do that.
Yeah. I just, for some reason, I felt like it was Charles Jourdain. But anyways, as you mentioned, man, super, super fun fighter. He's really entertaining, dude. Great.
He's incapable of putting on a bad fight.
Legitimately. Great striking skills, great chin, flashy as hell. He's an absolute dog, too. Like, he's not willing to go. Like, you really got to get him out of there to get him the fuck out of there. There's nothing to not love in his stand-up game. His biggest flaws are in the ground game. He has pretty bad takedown defense. If you're a good wrestler, that's the recipe to kind of beat Charles Jourdain.
It is.
And then Woodson, as you said, he's tall as hell. He's probably the tallest 145er I've ever seen in my life. Former pro boxer. So he does do a great jab, or he does do a great job utilizing his reach and using that jab to kind of create distance. Super tough to take down, man. I don't know if it's because he's tall as hell.
It is. I'm telling you, these tall guys have good leverage. They know how to use it.
Yeah, he last time out against our boy Dennis Bazookia, who Dennis is a really damn good wrestler. Dennis wasn't able to take him down, and then he actually went and took down Dennis, which was shocking to me. Granted, that was Dennis Bazookia on like a couple days' notice, but impressive. I hate that I'm doing this, Dino. I'm going Sean Woodson, man. I think he does a great job with distance management. He took Dennis Bazookia down. I feel like he can stay safe enough on the feet with Charles Jourdain. And now he looks like he's getting that wrestling implemented. I think he mixes up the boxing, he mixes up the grappling, and gets a decision win. Give me the underdog in Sean Woodson here. Close decision win.
Yeah. For me, I just think Charles is going to be able to do a – listen, it is close. I said it was going to be close too. Yeah. I just expect Charles – or I just know that Charles has a much larger repertoire of moves, like on the feet. Yeah. And I expect him to be able to mix it up. I think he'll figure him out at some point throughout the fight.
And I hope so. Another one where I'm rooting for the guy that I picked against. I definitely am a huge Charles Jourdain fan. Not the biggest Sean Woodson fan, but yeah, I just think he takes this one. But I feel you, man. Let's go Charles Jourdain. Air Jourdain, baby.
Respect, man. Respect. You got to go with what you believe. Moving on to the seventh fight of the night, we've got Brad Katona. Obviously, last time out, he won the Ultimate Fighter finale.
For the second time.
For the second time. That's right.
Second time. It's crazy.
That's right, which is nuts. Which, should that even be a thing? But we don't have to discuss that now. Brad Katona at 135 taking on Garrett Armfield, coming back after a decent little layoff. What do you think about this one?
All right, man. Let's start with Katona. Dude, like I said, Ultimate Fighter winner ×2. His last fight was the finale against Cody Gibson. It was a great fight. He's a striker.
If you haven't watched that fight,
yeah, go definitely check that out before this weekend's card. Striker with good power, does a good job staying very, very active, Dino. Nonstop attack, great leg kicks, really good cardio. On the ground, he's decent as well, man. He's shown that he's no slouch on the ground. He's shown some good sub skills. He has a submission win over Bryce Mitchell in his first time on the Ultimate Fighter. So that shows you have to have good jiu-jitsu to do that. I think he's really good, man. His two career losses are to Hunter Azure and Merab Dvalishvili. So, do with that information what you want. And then on the other hand, we have Garrett Armfield. He's a striker. Good job fighting orthodox and southpaw. Great leg kicks himself. Good power, crisp hands, solid on the ground as well. There isn't too much of like a stylistic difference between these two. So it's kind of like who's better. And to me, Katona just pops way more than Armfield does on tape. He looks a little bit better in every aspect to me. I'm going to stick with Katona here. I think a close, fun fight, 29-28.
Yeah. Yeah, there's a lot of really close fights, man. And you did a great job breaking that down. You know, for me, I just expect Armfield to be a little bit more technical on the feet. Katona has got some okay power, right? And man, does he eat shots though? He really eats a lot of shots. He's got a good chin though. I mean, he was able to, you know, he took some big shots from Gibson last time out. This is really, really close in my opinion. This has fight of the night written all over it potentially. I think Katona's style just lends itself well to that, and Garrett Armfield's always game. We saw Garrett Armfield with a really nice knockout last time out, knocked out Kazama. Both guys have good power. I just think that Garrett Armfield is going to be a little bit crisper with the strikes, a little bit crisper. He's going to hit more 1-2s, whereas Katona is going to be throwing more wound up hooks and things like that. And I think Garrett Armfield is going to be just smart enough to stay out of the way of the really big shots and not fully get clipped. Katona, very, very hittable, very hittable. And yeah, the odds are kind of swaying me. I think what were the odds on this one?
I'll check it out for you right now.
Armfield's the underdog.
Minus 180, Brad Katona, plus 150.
Yeah, man. It's going to be really, really close. It's going to be a goddamn battle. Again, probably my pick for fight of the night. But I'm going Garrett Armfield here, man, by, let's say, decision. It's going to be close. I expect it to mostly stay on the feet, too. It's going to be a goddamn war. But, yeah, I'll take Armfield.
Yeah, so, again, we basically agree. It's going to be a really close, fun fight. It's weird, you know, we're coming to, like, the same conclusion a lot and kind of disagreeing.
At the very end, picking, yeah.
Yeah, really weird. But that's the last prelim of the night. And then we move on to the main card. And the main card is okay. It's an okay, yeah, it's an okay pay-per-view main card. The prelims were kind of whatever, but you know, let's do it.
Yeah. So first fight. Well, first of all, I don't know. Is it though, bro? You got literally Raquel Pennington in the co-main, and you got Neil Magny in the third fight. I don't know, but anyway, we're moving on. We've got the 8th fight of the night. It's Arnold Allen taking on Movsar Evloev at 145. Really, really high level featherweight bout. Arnold Allen is really good. We saw him versus Max Holloway last time out. You know, it ended up being, let's say, a pretty one-sided beating in the later couple rounds. But he held his own. He obviously didn't get finished. But Max Holloway is like the gatekeeper of featherweight, but it's literally like the very top. And
I mean, gatekeeper seems like we're doing him like dirty and disrespectful.
No, but I mean, like, it's like literally he gatekeeps like the top 3.
You're gatekeeping the title.
Right.
That's what you're doing. It's just like, you want to fight Volkanovski, go through me. Like,
yeah, exactly. Yeah. So my biggest question with Arnold Allen is, where is the confidence after somebody who's been winning constantly, and now you take a massive loss versus Max Holloway? He held his own in the first 2 rounds. He was okay in the third, but man, he ended up getting his ass whooped by the end of it. So where is that confidence now? And now you're not getting an easy matchup. You're taking on Movsar Evloev. He's decent on the feet. You know, a lot of people are saying like, oh, well, the Diego Lopez fight, right? Well, he didn't look that great. I don't think that's an indictment on Movsar Evloev. I just think that speaks to how good Diego Lopez really is, right? And also it speaks to Movsar Evloev's toughness. This guy has no quit in him. Diego Lopez had him in a straight up armbar, like completely locked in. He was wincing in pain and did not tap. Somehow got out of it. So for me, you know, both of these guys, they land about the same amount of strikes. I think the biggest difference for me is the striking defense, where Movsar Evloev has over 60% striking defense. Allen's is not that good. And then the other thing for me is I just expect Movsar Evloev to be able to take Arnold Allen down. Arnold Allen is very good on the ground, but he doesn't have the best takedown defense either. So, you know, it's tough. It's another tough one. There's so many close fights on this one. I just got to go with Evloev. I just think that I don't think the Diego Lopez fight took anything away from me. I think he's really good. And Arnold Allen coming off a tough loss. I mean, I could see him coming in very motivated, but at the same time, where's that confidence going to be? I just expect Movsar Evloev to be able to stay out of the way of more shots, if that makes sense. Mm-hmm. So give me Evloev by decision. If I'm betting anything on this one, I'm betting the over 2.5.
Nice. Look, Dino, I really wish that this is one of those weird times where I wish that this was a 5-round like Apex main event. I think that would tell us a lot about the future at this division. But anyways, man, look, both guys are really good. Arnold Allen is a striker at the end of the day. Evloev is a grappler at the end of the day. So it is striker versus grappler. Not to say that either guy is a slouch in the other department, but I think there are clear advantages for both dudes in those areas. My thing is, man, Arnold Allen hits hard as hell. And if Movsar Evloev is not able to take him down, then this could be an Arnold Allen fight. However, I do think that Movsar Evloev's wrestling is really high level. And I don't know that Arnold Allen's takedown defense is really high level. I think Movsar wins this fight, but I am very 50-50 on it. He was tested by Diego Lopez and pushed to his limit. I do think that Arnold Allen, all things considered, is a better fighter than Diego Lopez. And last time out, he fought Max Holloway. So I also think Max Holloway is obviously better than Diego Lopez. And not taking anything away from Diego Lopez, huge fan. But yeah, I'm thinking 29-28 ultimately here by Evloev via wrestle fudging. Think he makes it kind of boring and just, wet blankets his way to a decision. But both guys are top of the food chain at 145.
Perfectly said.
Yeah.
I think that's exactly how it's going to go. Perfectly said. Moving on to the next fight of the night, we've got number 9 on the docket. It's Chris Curtis taking on Marc-André Barriault, another Canadian, of course. I'm assuming he's Quebecois.
Probably.
Probably, right? What do you think about this one?
I think it's two dudes with great nicknames. We have Action Man versus the Power Bar. It's like 1980s fucking action movies. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, 100%. The Power Bar is a wild nickname to have.
Yeah, I don't know. But Chris Curtis going in, Dino, for his 41st pro MMA fight. Pretty damn impressive.
Crazy.
Good boxer, good power, good leg kicks. He is a counter striker. We know that about Chris Curtis. He's tough as hell to take down. He can at times be very low output and just kind of fight his fight really slowly. But when he's rolling, Chris Curtis is definitely a dangerous guy who's always live for a knockout. Then we have Marc-André Barriault. He's a kickboxer, but he does have really damn good sub skills. He's nonstop high output. So this is a very high output guy versus a very low output guy here. His biggest issue, Marc-André Barriault, is sometimes his output is too much. It's that output that makes him good. Sometimes it's a negative. He goes too hard, and it makes him very damn hittable. For that reason, I am trusting Chris Curtis here. I feel like being the counter striker against the guy who leaves himself open when attacking too much is definitely going to benefit him. Also, the experience is huge in his favor here. Marc Barriault more than likely will try for a couple takedowns, Dino, in this fight. That's how I feel. But I trust Curtis enough to stuff the takedowns and keep it on the feet. And he's a counter striker, man. I think he finds the chin. I'm going to take the Action Man via knockout in round 2. However, there is a high likelihood that this fight goes to decision, where Barriault's kind of pushing the action, and it looks like he's doing more, but Chris Curtis is staying safe, not getting touched, being the counter striker, and the judges in Canada don't necessarily reward that. So I am, I'm like wishy-washy on this one, but I think Curtis finds the knockout.
Yeah, well said. Again, another really, really close one. I went back and forth on this one. I think Chris Curtis is just due for one, man. In both of his last 2 fights, he had head clashes that affected him very badly or ended the fight. Mm-hmm. So because he's a southpaw, obviously he's going to run into that a lot. So I'm just hoping that, first of all, he doesn't hit his head into anything aside from maybe somebody else's fist or whatever, but I hope he makes no contact with Marc-André Barriault's head. But yeah, you pretty much broke it down, man. Chris Curtis is going to have the power advantage. Marc-André Barriault is going to have the kickboxing, right? He's going to have a wider array of strikes. Chris Curtis, in my opinion, still should have the power advantage for sure. I want to see a little bit more output, right? I don't know. He seemed like a little bit hesitant in the last couple fights, but when he lands, man, he's got big, big power. He's 36 years old now. That's the other thing. It's like he's getting up there in age. He's at one of the heavier weight classes, so it doesn't necessarily matter quite as much. But yeah, you pretty much broke it down perfectly, man. I expect Chris Curtis to find the shot. I don't really see it. I mean, I think they'll end up on the ground maybe 1 or 2 times, and it'll be fairly short, the time spent there. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So yeah, I expect them to find the shot in round 2. Exact same thing as you. Yeah, give me Chris Curtis by knockout. But again, very, very close though.
I do want to point something out about Chris Curtis, Dino. Look at the losses he's taken, right? And not just his UFC losses, but his last like 5 losses in his career. And I guess what's his record? He's 30-10, but the last 5 losses, damn. Kelvin Gastelum, a former, UFC title challenger, Jack Henson, a top of the food chain guy in that division for years. And then he was on a huge win streak before that. Losses to Ray Cooper III, who's a PFL champion, and Magomed Karimov back-to-back, and he's a multi-time PFL champion. So he's lost.
He has a loss to Bilal in 2014.
Does he?
He does.
Interesting. I mean, shit. Well, Bilal's top of the food chain, apparently, right? Like, what the fuck do we know? But
I mean, he is.
2020. Yeah, MMA in 2024, man. He might be our UFC 300 main event. So
let's go.
Figure that out.
All right. Well, moving on, since I can't wait to move on at this point. 10 fight of the night, we've got Neil Magny taking on the pride of Canada, Mike Malott.
Yeah.
What do you think of Mike Malott overall? Do you think he's like he's going to be something?
These are okay. Skill. I don't want to sound shitty. You know how I am. I hate these guys that the UFC just like fucking crams down our throats. I don't like that.
That's what I'm saying. They're very pushy of him. They're pushing the shit out of him.
And I hate that. And it's like, if you're an MMA fan, like a real MMA fan, when that's happening. Like, you could just sense that really quickly. We obviously sensed it a while back with Mike Malott. It's like, dude, for me, it's like, if I want to fucking like the fighter, let me like him organically. Like, right. I don't like the fake push, but he's okay. I don't see anything in Mike Malott's game that's like, damn, this guy's the future of fucking Canadian MMA or this division or like a world champion, if that's what you're asking me.
That's exactly what I was asking you, because I don't necessarily think so either. I think he's pretty good, but yeah. So it's Neil Magny taking on Mike Malott. Neil Magny, obviously, what is there to say? He was most recently in the news because Ian Gary, the whole thing with Ian Gary, where he's beating his kid, he's not beating his kid, whatever, like all that bullshit. I felt bad for him for that. I just needed to say. But Neil Magny we know who he is, right? Well-rounded, long-rangey striker, pretty damn good on the ground. I mean, he holds records for how many goddamn fights he's been in at the weight class. He's been the gatekeeper of gatekeepers at this weight class for years now, right? I will say, though, man, I don't know if you agree with me or not, but I feel like in this last couple fights, we have kind of started to see him trending down now, finally. So, and man, Mike Malott has looked really, really good. He's got good power. He's a straight up mixed martial artist, right? He doesn't have a specific base. He wasn't like a wrestler growing up or anything like that. So he's just somebody that came in as a student of MMA. I know they're pushing him, but I think he's pretty damn good, man. He seems to be evolving. He's got good hands. He's got good speed. I like the leg kicks. Versus Adam Fugit. What is it? Fugit. He was easily able to take him down. Wore on him on the ground too, and actually laid a beat down on him. And he's a finisher, man. He's finished all of his wins, I want to say, right?
Yeah, he's like a very high percentage of his fights are finished.
Super high finisher. He's a nice prospect.
He's never been to a decision.
Never been to a decision. Yeah. Also, like, he throws some nice kicks, man. And Neil Magny has like super skinny little calves. I just think, he's coming off taking a lot of damage too. I expect Mike Malott to get the win by decision here, but I could also even see a late second round or early third round TKO here too.
Yeah, interesting. I mean, look, this fight, Dino, it is set up for Mike Malott to get
I forgot to mention, that's exactly it. They're not going to give him somebody that's going to beat his ass in Canada.
Right. That's what this is. Like how they just set up Neil Magny with Ian Gary. This is fucking Canadian Gary. You know what I'm saying? Like it's the same thing. That's exactly what they're trying to do here. A big name, a veteran. You get him in front of a home crowd, and you hope Mike Malott wins. That's what the UFC wants. I feel like in this fight, it's going to play out in a weird way. I feel like early things are not going to be going Mike Malott's way. I think it's going to be a little bit of an ugly fight where Magny's kind of getting the best of Mike Malott, but Magny is no longer the same guy that he was, right? This isn't prime Neil Magny. Because if this was prime Neil Magny, I have to say I'm picking Neil Magny to win this fight.
Me too. He hasn't looked anywhere. Like I haven't really seen him go on the offensive much.
Yeah, I agree. And even like the Phil Rowe fight that he won, it was like very just kind of like sloppy, and it was more Phil Rowe kind of not being that good. But anyways, I think he's going to be getting the best of Mike Malott, and then Magny's going to kind of start to slow down. And as that happens, I feel like Malott kind of takes over in the second half of this fight. I think he either finds a sub very late or he goes the distance for the first time in his career. And if he doesn't find that sub, Dino, and they go the distance, there's not a chance in hell that Mike Malott loses a decision on this card. So you could take that and throw it the fuck out.
Unless it's like a straight beatdown.
Yeah, unless it's like a 10-8, like 2 10-8 rounds or something.
That's obviously not happening.
That's not happening here. So I'm going Mike Malott by sub. But like, hey, there might be a little robbery going on. Like there's a chance that Neil Magny could win the first 2 rounds, lose the third, and then they kind of give this to Malott.
I really don't even see it, dude. Honestly. Like I know
I get what you're saying. Like, but Malott's winning the fight. We agree. Yeah.
All right. We've got the co-main event of the evening. We've got Raquel Pennington taking on Mayra Bueno Silva. It's for the vacant women's bantamweight title. What do you think about this one?
All right, I want to start by saying this fight, Dino. I was when it got announced, I was 100,000% going Mayra Bueno Silva.
Same.
Like immediately off the rip, I was like Mayra Bueno Silva and move on. The more as the time's getting closer to the fight, I've definitely moved to like, man, this is kind of a pick'em fight, to be honest with you. And after watching film, I've kind of doubled down on that. But anyways, let's do a little bit of a breakdown. Raquel Pennington, she is actually the higher of the two here in terms of like seeding. Her ranking's number 2, I think. It's Pena 1, Pennington 2, and Shitara here is number 3. But anyways, Raquel Pennington's been fighting everybody forever, dude. She's been here in the UFC since women's MMA was a thing in the UFC. Her losses have come to legitimate fucking women's MMA royalty. Amanda Nunes, Holly Holm, Jessica Andrade, Germaine Durandamine. Like, those are the girls she loses to. Her last loss was back at UFC 246. That was Connor versus Cowboy. She lost against Holly Holm. And when she lost that fight, I was kind of like, all right, well, that's it. Raquel Pennington, thank you. Like, she's going to plummet down the rankings now, and that'll be the end of that. But she's been on a 5-fight win streak since then. Her last one was against Ketlin Vieira. I expected her to lose that fight.
I won money on that one.
Amazing. Dude, she's making waves again, Dino, and this is her second title shot opportunity. She's a good striker, good clinch control against the cage.
She also beat your girl, Penny Kianza.
Definitely not a my girl. And for that, you get minimized. You see how that goes? Anyways, though, she's just really good. And then Mayra Bueno Silva, Shitara, good striker herself, man. Good power, good grappler, unreal sub skills. She does struggle to take the fight to the ground. She has no type of wrestling. Her finish rate for women's MMA is fucking special. It's really, really high. She is dangerous as hell. If you leave your neck out there, shorty finna snatch it. Like I said, when this fight got announced, I was 100% sure I was going Mayra Bueno Silva. But the more I think about it, man, Raquel Pennington's pretty damn good. We have not seen Mayra Bueno Silva go deep into fights. And I know Raquel Pennington can go deep into fights. I was very confident. I switched up. I'm going Raquel Pennington, man. She has not been subbed in 12 years. And Mayra Bueno Silva is a submission specialist, but she is a first-round specialist or a very early second-round specialist. Raquel Pennington by decision. Side note, though, if Mayra Bueno Silva wins this fight, and I'm kind of rooting for her, I really would love to see her and Juliana Pena, and I would love to see her beat the dog shit out of Juliana Pena.
I feel you on that. Listen, man, same exact thing over here, if you believe it. When I saw the fight announced, I was like, oh, easy, Mayra Bueno Silva. When I finished watching the film, I also flipped. Listen, Raquel Pennington is not like the funnest fighter. She's kind of a boring fighter, right? Yeah. Mayra Bueno Silva, one of the highest finish rates in women's MMA. So she got really solid striking. She's super dangerous on the ground. she looks for the finish, right? Raquel Pennington just does everything pretty damn good, right? She's a true veteran. Like you said, she's pretty much women's MMA royalty. Sometimes I feel like, especially in this weight division, women's bantamweight, sometimes just having the basics down perfect, I feel like is how you get a winner, right? So
Yeah.
I'm going with the same thing, man. I think it's going to be pretty close. I think Mayra Bueno Silva, at times will kind of be in more advantageous positions, but I just think Raquel Pennington is too smart to stay down there. And as the fight goes on, Mayra Bueno Silva, we've seen her tire out, right? So same kind of thing, man. I also, like I said, was Mayra Bueno Silva. I'm going Raquel Pennington by decision.
I'm shocked. I'm fucking shocked that you did that, because to me this was such like it was a big moment. I was like, man, I switched up last second, and I was like, there's no way Dino's doing that, because we kind of talked about this like a couple weeks back or a couple months back, whenever it got whenever it got announced, we were just like, like easy money, Mayra Bueno Silva. We were like, dude, last week we didn't record our state of the divisions, but when we were gonna do state of the divisions, I was like, Mayra Bueno Silva is going to defend against Juliana Pena at some point later on this year, and that's like where I thought the division was going.
Yeah.
But then literally, like, upon watching tape, I'm just like, dude, I don't know. Because to me, the cardio is a question mark. And it's like, dude, what if we get to round 4? What is she going to look like?
Yep.
Yeah. But anyway.
Not good. I mean, Raquel Pennington is literally just going to do the boring Raquel Pennington thing. Land some shots, feint some takedowns, you know what I mean? And just, like, work her. So.
We'll see, bro.
And now we are, of course, at the main event. And this is really this is really a very top-heavy card, and it's really just this fight, right? I think that's kind of what Dana thought.
Yeah.
It's the start of the year. People are UFC starved. This is like the fight that they want to see. Dana was probably drooling when he saw them throwing down in the crowd. I'm not fully convinced that it wasn't necessarily like orchestrated or something. I'm not saying it was, but who knows? I wouldn't put it past them.
In typical UFC fashion, they ended up like using that in their promo for the fight or whatever.
Exactly.
And also, we were talking during this last week's card. What a fucking promo! The little promo package they put together. Unreal, top notch shit.
You said it was like some WWE shit. It literally was.
I was ready for like fucking Creed to come on and just like The Rock to come out and Austin and just like go at it. I was like, let's get it.
It was literally like The Rock, Triple H, like No Way Out and shit, like 2001, like that kind of shit, like that.
Exactly.
Intense ass rivalry and shit. So obviously, if you don't know by now, we're talking about Sean Strickland versus Dricus du Plessis, or Dricus du Plessis, however you want to say it. I guess I'll go first on this one. If somebody tells you that they know how this fight's going to go down, they don't know, right? Who the hell knows? These are two very unorthodox guys. And if you told me a year ago, right, that both Robert Whittaker and Israel Adesanya would lose, I don't think it would have been these two that lose to, right? But Sean Strickland beat the shit out of Izzy. Dricus, unfortunately, beat the shit out of my boy, Bobby Knuckles. We were there for that in person. Obviously, there's a lot of bad blood. So there's some question marks here. How is Sean Strickland going to handle the emotion side of it, right? Is he going to fight emotionally? I don't think that's going to be the smart thing to do for him against a dangerous kickboxer like Dricus, somebody who's very unconventional like Dricus. Another question mark for me is that Philly shell that Sean Strickland is so very well known for, that everybody was talking about after the Adesanya fight. So for me, the big question too is like he doesn't Philly shell, but it's kind of like low, right? He doesn't like hold it up here. He does like a Philly shell, and like both hands are pretty low. So I don't know if that's the smartest strategy against somebody like Dricus, right? So you got two very unconventional fighters. Sean Strickland just wants to walk you down, and as much shit as he talks, he's a very defensive-minded fighter, right? He's got the Philly shell. He kind of like starts off a little bit slow sometimes. As much shit as he talks, he almost fights the opposite way of what he talks, right? Dricus, he's going to come out swinging, right? And now it's a 5-rounder. And I've heard him many times say at this point in interviews that, he used to fight exclusively 5-round fights before and things like that. And then it's like also the breathing thing. Wasn't it like he couldn't breathe out of a nostril?
Septum or some shit.
Yeah, so now that's fixed. So how big of a factor is that? We've got some question marks in this fight, right? For me, I just think when you look back, right, the Sean Strickland story, awesome, very cool, one of the greatest moments, you know, in combat sports history, you could probably say, right? One of the biggest upsets in combat sports history in the last 20 years, for sure. So, but before that, right, he went to a close fight with Cannonier. He was brutally knocked out by Alex Pereira. So we've seen Sean Strickland finish. We've seen Sean Strickland have bad game plans and lose not that long ago, right? For me, it's really tough. Again, if anybody tells you that they know what's going to happen here, I don't really believe it, right? For me, I just think Dricus is going to be too much, man. I don't see this going into the 3rd, 4th, 5th rounds. Unfortunately, I actually see Dricus du Plessis getting a 2nd round knockout and just landing a big shot, man. Sean just, you know, the Philly shell kind of maybe working against him, unfortunately. The other question mark, too, is the wrestling, right? Are we going to see any wrestling? I didn't even want to mention it at first because I feel like no way, because of all the shit talking and all the history behind this fight. They're not going to sit there and wrestle. Sean Strickland, I feel like, doesn't have that in him. He didn't do that against Adesanya. He's not going to do that now. So, for me, I hate to say it. I kind of want to see Sean Strickland win, right? I'm not a huge Dricus fan. I mean, he's beat up all the guys that I actually like. But give me Dricus by 2nd or maybe early 3rd round knockout.
All right. I mean, look, I get where you're coming from. A couple things. Sean Strickland, yeah, the game plan thing you mentioned, like really fucking dumb game plan against Alex Pereira. Let me just walk forward into this behemoth's power shots. Like, that's really dumb. But I will say, Dino, the confidence on both sides, I feel like both of these guys going into this week are super damn confident. And I don't think we could have said that about Sean Strickland during his Alex Pereira fight week. That fight week, he was talking shit to Izzy and he was mocking Izzy. But if you notice, it was just like, yeah, I'm fighting this big fucking scary Brazilian and he's going to try to knock me out.
That's true. That's true.
Like, I don't think I haven't heard him one time say Dricus du Plessis is going to knock me out. Now, I do know it's a possibility. As you mentioned, Dricus is really unorthodox, man. He is super damn unorthodox. And a lot of people, a lot of experts in this industry will say he's just not technically that good. I've seen Renato Moicano, a couple other people, like a couple other fighters and coaches, and even myself from watching the film and you from watching the film and my friends and my family, whoever watches this guy, they're like, he's technically not that good, but he's just aggressive and powerful as dog shit. Like the dude comes forward and he's sloppy, but he's fucking aggressive. And Sean Strickland does his best work.
And he does damage. He does damage when he's tired too.
Yeah. It seems like in 80% of Dricus du Plessis fights, it's like, oh, he's done. He's tired. He's getting super damn sloppy. It's over. And then he fucks somebody up and finishes them. Look, man, he's big too, Dricus du Plessis. We met him in Vegas. The guy is a fucking unit for 185 pounds. It's ridiculous. Look, Dino, I hope I'm wrong. I really, really do, because I am not a Dricus du Plessis fan. I am a Sean Strickland fan for sure, but I have to stick with the more explosive, dangerous guy here. And to me, that is Dricus du Plessis. Same thought process as you. I think we get a KO. I think it comes relatively early. I'm feeling like round 2 is the right round. I feel like he's going to step forward big as hell and eventually find Strickland. I do want to say, though, that with the question marks around Dricus du Plessis' cardio, I know he had the nose thing fixed and supposedly he could breathe now and it's a world of difference. I feel like Sean Strickland's best chance in this fight is to make sure we get to the 3rd and the 4th rounds. Because if we can get to 3, 4, and 5, I can see a Sean Strickland finish. And like you said, who the fuck knows? This fight is as 50-50 as it gets, but I'm trusting Dricus, man. And I will also say, I do think Israel Adesanya beats Sean Strickland in a rematch, and I think he beats Dricus du Plessis at 185.
I think so too. I am less confident in the Sean Strickland thing, but I do think he would beat Dricus matchup wise. You know, I think he'd beat Sean Strickland too, but yeah. Very interesting. Very interesting that these two guys are fighting for the title.
Like you said, if I would have told you a year ago, I'm sorry to cut you off, but if I would have told you a year ago, like literally January of last year, if I was like, hey, man, next January, UFC 297, the main event for the middleweight title is going to be Sean Strickland, the defending against Dricus du Plessis, you'd be like, give me some of what the fuck you're smoking, because that shit's fire.
Yeah,
like, you're
literally. And honestly, I don't think I would have gotten the path right. Like, okay, who do you think they beat to get here? Like, how the hell would you?
Right.
There's no way you would determine that. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yep.
So, but I think this is going to be one of those fights where, even though I don't really have a dog in the fight, truly, I'm going to have like butterflies in my stomach. I'm be nervous and shit.
I'm already nervous. I'm already nervous for this one. Yep. But yeah,
that's it, man.
Yep, that's the card.
That's it. We broke down UFC 297 for you. Give us an idea of how you feel about this, right? We're both horizontal right now. Should we be vertical? Should one of us be vertical, the other horizontal?
You guys like the little boxes?
True.
You know?
Because you can see more.
Yeah, it gets like a wider camera angle. Look at this.
Yeah. Boom, look at that. I like that.
Yeah.
You can see
you guys let us know what you think.
Yeah. Other than that, we're not going to do this for everyone, but every now and then when it's a little fucking cold as balls, we might throw this on. So
yeah, I'm with you. So should I sign us off, Dino? Is that what we're doing here?
Take it out, brother.
All right, guys. So thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed, do us a favor. Thumbs up. Leave a comment. Let us know how you feel about this virtual shit. We are really interested. You can also follow us on Instagram at D107MMA. I don't know if I said subscribe, but definitely do that. Subscribe. We want you guys to do that. Dino, next week, decent fight. Hey, Roman Dolidze versus Imavov. Moicano versus Drew Dober. Our boy, Randy Rude Boy Brown. Chuck Buffalo's on the card. I'm interested to see his next fight. Yo, boy, Blake the Builder. Can you hit me with one? A quick
Blake the Builder.
Boom. And, of course, 10-7 MMA legend Themba Garimbo.
Let's fuck.
Themba Garimbo's on the card.
Let's go.
I had to get set up. I do like a massive fucking applause thing here. But anyways, guys, he is DS. I'm Dino Bam Bam. We are the 10-7 MMA, our first virtual fucking full card breakdown, UFC 297. Thank you guys so much for watching. Peace.